Let me ask you something. Have you ever been in a situation where you can feel a guy wants you, he's into you, the chemistry is undeniable, but still something feels like it's missing? It's almost as if he's holding back a part of himself, like he's there physically, but not fully letting you into what he's really feeling. See, here's the thing. Men, for all their confidence, swagger, and that tough exterior they love to show the world, are often terrible at expressing what they truly want when it comes to sex. Society has taught men to act like they've got it all figured out, that they're the experts, that sex is simple for them. But the truth, most men are walking around with 100 unspoken desires, fears, and needs that they don't know how to put into words. And here's the wild part. Those secrets aren't about crazy fantasies or unrealistic expectations. They're about connection. They're about the things that make him feel safe, desired, respected, and understood on a level deeper than most people ever reach with him. The problem is, since men don't say these things, women are left guessing, and that's where the distance starts to creep in. Because intimacy without understanding is like dancing without music. It feels empty even when you're close. But today I want to change that. Today, I'm going to give you the inside scoop, the 5 secrets men secretly wish women knew about sex. Once you understand these, you won't just blow his mind physically. You'll make him feel more connected to you than any other woman ever has. So let's pull back the curtain and dive in. When most people think about men and sex, they imagine something very simple. Men want the physical. They want the act, the pleasure, the release. That's the stereotype, right? But the deeper truth is far more interesting and honestly way more powerful for you to know, because men may not always say this out loud. In fact, most never do. But what they crave on a level they often don't admit is the emotional connection that comes with sex. And the crazy part is, many women don't realize just how big a role that plays in how a man bonds to them. Think about it. In everyday life, men walk around with armor on. Society tells them from the time they're young, be strong, don't cry, don't show weakness, be in control. They're trained to keep emotions hidden, to look like they've got it all figured out, to always be the confident one. And you might even see that in the guy you're with. Out in the world, he's the leader, the one who's got everything together, the one who never lets his guard down. But when he's with you in the bedroom, that's one of the few places he gets to actually drop that mask. It's one of the rare moments in his life where he feels it's safe to be vulnerable. Now, here's the thing. Men aren't going to sit you down and say, hey, I really crave emotional intimacy through sex. That would make them feel too exposed. Instead, what they'll do is hope you can sense it. They'll hope you pick up on it through their energy. They'll hope you create an atmosphere where they feel more than just physically wanted, where they feel emotionally chosen. And when you do that, you unlock a part of him no other woman has reached. How do you show him that? It doesn't take grand gestures. It's in the small, powerful ways you connect with him. Eye contact is one of the strongest. Looking directly into his eyes while you're close isn't just sexy. It communicates, I see you. I'm here with you. You matter. That tiny shift makes sex about so much more than just pleasure. It makes it about intimacy. Whispering his name or saying affirming words during those moments is another. It might seem simple, but for a man to hear, I love this with you, or I want you so much, does something deeper than stroke his ego. It reassures him that he's not just performing, he's being wanted. And then there's tenderness. Men love passion, yes, but they also melt with gentleness. Stroking his hair, kissing his face softly, holding him after. Those actions might not look like much from the outside, but for him, they're profound. They tell him that you don't just see him as a body. You see him as a human being who needs love and care. That's where men feel truly safe. And safe is where men allow themselves to fully open up. Here's what many women don't realize for men. Sex is where they feel validated. It's where they feel like they're enough. It's where they get the message. I choose you. I desire you. You're the one I want. And when you make it emotional, not just physical, that validation doesn't just boost his confidence. It bonds him to you in a way that's unforgettable. So yes, he loves the physical, but what he's really craving is that unspoken layer underneath it all. The connection, the acceptance, the love. When you bring that into your intimacy, when you allow him to feel both pleasure and safety with you, he's not just satisfied for the night. He becomes addicted to you. And that is the secret most men will never tell you outright, but every man desperately wants. One of the biggest misconceptions women have about men is that they're simple that they just want the same thing over and over again in the bedroom. And sure, he might never complain if things stay exactly the same, because men are grateful for intimacy with the woman they love. But if you really want to light a fire in him, if you really want to make sex with you unforgettable, then you need to understand this truth: variety excites him more than anything else. Now, when I say variety, I don't mean you need to go and learn 50 different acrobatic positions or bring in some elaborate movie scene to keep his interest. That's not what this is about. It's about bringing in little changes that keep things fresh, exciting, and unpredictable. Men thrive on novelty. It's wired into them. The same way you get excited about a new outfit, a new hairstyle, or even trying a new restaurant, men get excited when intimacy feels like an adventure instead of a routine. Think of it like this: if you always have the same dinner every night, no matter how much you like that food, eventually it becomes predictable. You stop craving it the same way. But the moment you switch it up even just a little, suddenly your appetite comes back. That's exactly how it works in the bedroom. Variety doesn't have to be drastic. It just has to say, I'm invested in keeping this exciting for both of us. That might mean surprising him by taking control sometimes. If he's always the one initiating, flip the script. Walk up to him when he least expects it, kiss him deeply, and lead him somewhere private. That element of surprise instantly changes the energy. Or maybe it's changing the setting. Instead of the same place, try a different room, or even just altering the lighting and atmosphere. The tiniest shifts can make things feel completely new. Clothing can play a role too. Most men won't admit how much they love the effort you put into what you wear, not because they need lingerie or something extravagant, but because it signals that you wanted to make the moment special. Sometimes it's lingerie, sometimes it's his oversized t-shirt, sometimes it's absolutely nothing. The key is switching it up so that he never knows exactly what's coming. Even the way you touch him can change the game. If he's used to you being soft and gentle, surprise him with a little more assertiveness, a little more intensity. If he's used to passion and speed, slow it down and make every second last. These small adjustments are what keep intimacy alive, because they create a sense of playfulness and curiosity. Here's what's really happening underneath all this. Variety makes him feel like you're still invested in keeping the spark alive. It tells him you care enough about the connection to keep it exciting. And men respond to that in a huge way. They don't want to feel like sex is something that just happens out of obligation. They want to feel like it's something you're both actively choosing and enjoying together. When you bring variety, you give him more than just pleasure. You give him anticipation. You make him look forward to the next moment with you, because he never knows what you might do. And that's intoxicating. That's what keeps a man craving you, not just physically, but emotionally. He doesn't just want you in that moment. He starts thinking about you when you're not there, wondering what's coming next. So remember, variety isn't about complexity. It's about surprise, play, and keeping things alive. And when you give a man that gift, you become unforgettable to him. Not because of any one thing you did, but because he feels like with you, intimacy will never be boring. Here's a truth most men will never say out loud, but it's something they desperately want you to know. Your pleasure turns him on more than his own. I know that sounds almost counterintuitive, because the stereotype is that men are selfish in bed. They're only concerned with their own satisfaction. But the reality is very different. For a man who truly cares about you, nothing is sexier, nothing is more addictive than seeing you completely lost in the moment, enjoying yourself without holding back. When a man feels like he's the reason you're experiencing pleasure, it does something powerful to him. It makes him feel not only desired, but also successful in that moment. Men, by nature, want to feel like they're winning with you. They want to feel like they're good enough, like they're giving you something no one else can. And when they see you genuinely enjoying yourself, when they hear the sounds you make, when they feel your body respond, when they see the look on your face, it lights them up in a way that nothing else does. But here's where things go wrong. A lot of women feel pressure to perform. They think they need to fake pleasure, exaggerate their responses, or put on a show just to boost his ego. And while it might work in the short term, over time it actually creates distance. Because deep down, men can sense when it's not authentic. He might not call you out on it, but he feels it. And instead of feeling connected, he feels like he's just going through the motions with you. What men actually crave is authenticity. They want to know the pleasure you're experiencing is real. If something feels amazing, let him know. If something doesn't, guide him, not in a critical way, but in a playful, inviting way. Imagine whispering, "Oh, I love it when you do this," or gently moving his hand where it feels best. That's not rejection, that's direction. And men love it because it tells them exactly how to make you happy. And here's the best part: when you prioritize your own pleasure, you actually give him permission to fully enjoy his. Think about it. If you're holding back, if you're in your head worrying about how you look, how you sound, or whether you're doing it right, he feels that tension. But when you let go, when you're present in the moment and unapologetically enjoying yourself, it creates a freedom that he feeds off of. Your energy, your reactions, your enjoyment, that's the fuel that drives his passion. It's also important to understand that for men, seeing you experience pleasure isn't just about physical satisfaction, it's about emotional connection. It reassures him that he matters to you, that you trust him enough to let go, that he's someone who can give you what you need. That kind of validation sticks with him long after the moment is over. It becomes a memory he replays in his mind because it wasn't just about sex, it was about how he made you feel. So if you want to blow his mind, stop treating your pleasure as secondary. Don't think of it as something that happens only if there's time for it. See it as the centerpiece of your connection, because that's how he secretly sees it too. The more you show him that you're invested in your own experience, the more invested he becomes in you. When you take your pleasure seriously, you make sex a partnership, not a performance. And that's what creates not only incredible intimacy in the moment, but also a bond that makes him crave you long after. Because in his mind, you're not just the woman he enjoys, you're the woman he feels truly alive with. One of the biggest lies women have been sold when it comes to intimacy is the idea that men are obsessed with perfection, that he's noticing every little detail about your body, every so-called flaw, every angle. And because of that belief, so many women end up in their own heads during sex. They're worrying about how their stomach looks, whether the lighting is flattering, if their hair is messy, or if they're moving the right way. And while all of that is happening internally, they're missing the very thing that men actually find the sexiest of all: confidence. Let me tell you something that might shock you. Men are not scanning your body like you're under a spotlight, searching for imperfections. He's not thinking, "Oh, she has a little cellulite here," or "her makeup isn't perfect." Do you know what he's thinking? He's thinking, "I can't believe this amazing woman is here with me, choosing to be with me right now." That's what's on his mind. Your confidence in those moments is infinitely more powerful than any so-called physical perfection. Think about the difference in energy between someone who's self-conscious and someone who owns who they are. When a woman is constantly trying to hide her body, covering up, keeping the lights off, or apologizing for how she looks, a man feels that insecurity. It creates a barrier, like there's a part of her that doesn't fully want to be seen. But when a woman walks into intimacy with the attitude of, "This is me, I know I'm desirable, I know I'm sexy, I know I'm worth being here," it changes everything. That energy is magnetic. It makes her irresistible, no matter what her body looks like. Confidence is the thing that allows you to be present instead of being stuck in your head. It's what allows you to touch him boldly, to look him in the eyes without hesitation, to move in a way that's natural instead of calculated. And here's the thing, men pick up on that instantly. It's not about whether you have the so-called perfect body. It's about how you carry yourself. Because the way you see yourself is the lens through which he sees you. Let me give you an example. Imagine two women with the exact same body. One of them is constantly pulling the sheets up to cover herself, making excuses, apologizing for how she looks. The other one owns every inch of who she is. She walks with certainty. She's playful. She's free. Which one do you think a man is going to find sexier? Every time it's the one with confidence, not because she's better physically, but because her energy tells him, "I know I'm worth desiring." And men can't resist that. Here's another layer to this. When you show up confidently, you also give him permission to let go of his own insecurities. Because believe me, men have them too. They worry about their performance, their bodies, whether they're good enough. But if you're confident, playful, and fully present, you create a safe space where he feels like he doesn't need to be perfect either. That's when intimacy becomes real. That's when you both stop performing and start connecting. So if you've been holding back because you think you need to look flawless, I want you to let that go. Stop waiting until you feel perfect to be confident. Confidence isn't about perfection. It's about deciding that you're enough as you are right now. And that decision is what will make you magnetic to him, because at the end of the day, what stays in a man's mind long after the moment isn't whether your body looked like a magazine cover. It's how you made him feel. And nothing makes him feel more alive, more desired, and more connected than a woman who embraces herself fully and isn't afraid to show it. Confidence will always be sexier than perfection. Always. Here's something that almost no one talks about, but it makes all the difference in how a man feels about you after sex. What happens after matters just as much as what happens during. This is the secret most men won't ever put into words, but they feel it deeply. And if you get this right, you'll stand out from every other woman he's ever been with. See, for a lot of women, the focus is on the build-up and the act itself. That's where the attention goes. The attraction, the passion, the chemistry. But once it's over, once the high fades, that's where a lot of women check out. They roll over, they get on their phone, they head to the bathroom, they go to sleep. And listen, there's nothing wrong with any of those things. But here's the truth. If you stop there, you're missing the most powerful bonding opportunity you'll ever have. Because aftercare, those tender, simple, human moments right after sex, are what take intimacy from being just physical to being emotional. This is where men feel the difference between a hookup and a connection, between someone they enjoyed for the night and someone they can't stop thinking about. Think about it from his perspective. During sex, his guard is down. He's exposed. He's vulnerable. He's not in control the way he usually has to be in the outside world. And right after, when he's lying there with you, there's this little voice in his head wondering, was this just sex to her? Or did it actually mean something? That moment is fragile. And the way you handle it tells him everything about the kind of bond you're building with him. It doesn't have to be complicated. It can be something as small as resting your head on his chest and just breathing with him. It can be running your hand gently through his hair, kissing his shoulder, or laughing about something random together. It can be saying a few quiet words like, I love being close to you. These little things seem insignificant, but they speak volumes. They say, I don't just want your body, I want you. And that is what men crave more than anything. Now, here's where it gets really powerful. Most men aren't used to this kind of intimacy. They may have had plenty of sexual experiences, but very few partners who made them feel cherished afterward. When you do this, you instantly become different in his mind. You're not just another experience. You're the woman who made him feel safe, seen, and cared for in one of his most vulnerable moments. That sticks with him. What's interesting is that a lot of women underestimate how emotional men can be. They assume men are fine just rolling over and moving on. But what most men won't admit is that aftercare is where they secretly hope for reassurance. They want to know it wasn't just a physical act, that it mattered to you as much as it did to them. And when they get that reassurance, it creates a loop. It makes them want to come back to you, not just for the sex, but for the way they feel with you afterward. So don't overlook those moments. Don't think of them as an afterthought. They're actually the glue that binds everything together. Passion gets his attention, variety keeps it exciting, but aftercare is what makes it last. It's the part that transforms a physical connection into something emotional and lasting. Because at the end of the day, sex will always fade into memory. But the way you make a man feel afterward cared for, connected, and wanted is what makes him crave you, not just for one night, but over and over again. And that right there is the secret men wish women understood. So let's bring this all together. We've just gone through the 5 secrets men wish women knew about sex. And I want you to notice something. None of these secrets were about wild positions or crazy techniques. None of them were about doing something extreme to impress him. Every single one of them was about connection, presence, and the emotional bond that turns physical intimacy into something unforgettable. The first secret was that men crave emotional connection just as much as women do. They might not always say it, but for so many men, sex is the one place they feel safe enough to be vulnerable. When you meet him there, when you look into his eyes, whisper his name, or show tenderness, you give him a kind of intimacy he doesn't get anywhere else. And that's powerful. The second secret was that variety excites him. Not because he's dissatisfied, but because novelty keeps things alive. When you switch things up, whether it's the atmosphere, the dynamic, or the way you touch him, You're sending a message that you're invested in keeping the spark alive, and that anticipation makes him crave you. The third secret was that he wants you to take your pleasure seriously. Nothing lights a man up more than seeing you genuinely enjoying yourself. When you let go, when you're authentic about what feels good, and when you guide him with confidence instead of faking it, you make sex feel like a real partnership. And that's what he secretly desires more than anything. The fourth secret was that confidence will always be sexier than perfection. He's not focused on every little thing you think is a flaw. What he remembers is how you made him feel, how you owned yourself, how present you were. When you show up with confidence, you give him the freedom to do the same, and that creates real intimacy. And the fifth secret was aftercare, the moments after sex that most people overlook. That's where men feel the difference between just another encounter and something meaningful. When you hold him, touch him gently, or simply stay present with him afterward, you show him it wasn't just about the act, it was about the connection. And that's what makes him think about you long after you're gone. Now, here's the truth. When you put these 5 secrets together, you're no longer just someone he has sex with. You're the woman who makes him feel alive, seen, desired, and safe. And that combination, that's what men become addicted to. That's what makes him think about you when he's lying in bed alone at night. That's what makes him compare every other woman to you. So my challenge to you is this: the next time you're with him, pick one of these secrets and put it into practice. Maybe it's holding his gaze longer. Maybe it's surprising him with a little variety. Maybe it's slowing down and letting yourself fully enjoy the moment. Whatever it is, just try one, because when you see the way he responds, when you see the shift in his energy, the way he looks at you differently, you'll understand just how powerful these little changes really are. And here's your call to action if you found value in this. Don't just keep it to yourself. Share this video with a friend who needs to hear it, because too many women are still in the dark about what men actually want. And if you're ready for more insights like this, the kind that help you not only attract a man, but also build a bond that lasts, then make sure you hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications, because we're just getting started. At the end of the day, remember this: sex isn't just about the body, it's about the bond. And when you understand these secrets, you'll never just be another experience to him. You'll be the experience he can't get out of his mind.